The push for more tests come as concerns over the virus continues to grow. Now private companies are stepping in to try to fill the gap left by the government. And our investigative reporter Ben Hall looks at how Nashville companies are working to make it easier to get you tested. Ben?
Well, there is no doubt people are frustrated by the lack of testing so far, but we may start seeing drive-up testing centers in Nashville soon.
Industry will come in and support the needs of our communities.
These tests that go inside your nose are something we're about to see a lot more of.
Put it into the nasal pharynx, 10-15 seconds of turn time. Not the most comfortable.
Adam Baris owns a local healthcare company and says private industry is stepping in to do large-scale testing that the government has not been doing.
We need a lot more tests. So the expectation is that we'll be able to run thousands of tests a day.
The Centers for Disease Control initially put strict regulations on who could get a test. It was not enough just to have symptoms. People had to prove they had come in contact with someone who had the virus. As a result, a relatively small number of people got tested.
The amount of patients currently with the virus is at this point, I believe, unknown.
The testing was very limited to start with.
Last night on Open Line, the state epidemiologist said it's good news that private companies are beginning to ramp up testing.
I do wish it had been faster. I wish we had more capacity sooner, but it's a step-by-step process.
Dr. Dunn, who was with Governor Bill Lee earlier in the day as he declared a state of emergency, was reluctant to say the government dropped the ball by testing so few people.
Do you think there was a failure here in testing?
I don't think so. Our lab has been working 7 days a week, doing as many tests as they can have the capacity to do.
Dr. Dunn expects the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the state to shoot up as a result of private labs running tests and processing results.
Do you feel like the reality is there are more people out there with coronavirus?
We do. You can kind of think of that as an iceberg. So we kind of see the tip of the iceberg, but we know there's more illness below the surface.
Some other states have even had drive-up testing centers where people could get tested and get results back fairly quickly. Dr. Dunn says we could start seeing those in the Nashville area.
If we don't have private companies come in, there's not going to be enough testing or any testing at this point.
While some tests now take days to get results,
break it off.
Baris says private tests will be shipped overnight and get the results the day they arrive.
We need to test, and that's going to get us to the end point of trying to isolate those that do have COVID-19.
Baris says his company should have testing up and running early next week. It's still not clear how much the tests will cost, but most private insurance companies have agreed to cover the cost, many of them without a copay. But as we know, a lot of Tennesseans do not have insurance.